Good evening, ladies. I'm coming on just a little bit early because Mr. Pope went and bought tickets for Venom, the new movie coming out on IMAX tonight, and he says, "We're going to the movies, I want to go see the movie." So I'm coming on just a little bit early tonight because I'm going to need to be able to cut this a little short so we can make it to the movie on time. All right, so tonight we are talking about the independent woman. Independent Women, Love and Dating in the 21st Century, Chapter 4, Girl Talk Live, The Independent Woman. And this is going to be a great topic tonight. I have a lot to share, especially coming from the perspective of a married woman who I'm very independent. So I think that, I relate well to single women who are independent, who've had to be independent. I mean, let's just be honest. If you're a single mother or you've been single and you're holding things down on your own, it's not really by choice that you're independent. It's be independent by necessity. Good evening. I know I'm jumping right in, girls. I'm jumping right in because I'm on a time constraint tonight. Mr. Pope went and bought tickets to the movies, and he's like, we need to be out of here. So I'm going to be on a time constraint tonight. I'm coming on just a little bit early so that we're able to get into the depth of this, into the meat of this really quickly. All right. Hey, girls. Hey. Welcome. All right. Independent woman. The independent woman. We're talking about how to be an independent woman and still get what you need from a man. This goes right in line with the conversations we've been having. Right, an impromptu date night. That's right, Andrea. So this falls right in line with what we've been talking about: requirements, standards, boundaries, right? Being able to make sure you're able to express to a man what you want, what you need, what are your requirements for your happiness, and being able to, hold him accountable to that through action. We've been touching on that in other videos. But tonight we're talking about specifically the whole subject of being an independent woman. So I start off the video by saying that most women who are very independent, it's not like we chose to be independent. It's like, you find yourself either being a single mother or you're, in your 30s, you're in your 40s and you're single and you have to pay all your bills. You got to take out your trash. You have to get your car serviced. There's no husband, there's no boyfriend, there's no anybody that's doing all these things for you consistently. So by literally definition, you become very independent because you have to be, right? There's really not a choice. But then when it comes to relationships, we'll hear men say women are too independent. They don't know how to fall back and be a woman. They don't know how to be feminine. They don't know how to let a man be a man. So that is our topic for tonight, okay? Anybody that's coming on late for replay, I'm sorry I had to come on a little bit early tonight. Hope you catch it as well. So I'm going to read just a little bit out of the chapter 4, The Independent Woman. What is an independent woman in modern times? As I have mentioned, one of the biggest factors affecting modern dating and marriage is the shift of women's roles in society. In the 21st century, women don't need a whole lot of saving and rescuing. Women are outdistancing men in education. We are starting businesses at rates that run circles around men. We graduate in higher numbers and are competing for the best jobs. All of this gender equality throws gender roles out the window because women haven't historically competed with men professionally or financially. Finances are at the heart of the gender role shift. Historically, women have depended on their fathers and husbands for financial provision. When women began working and wages began increasing is when things really started to change. Because if women are no longer dependent on their fathers and men for survival, and we work just as hard, if not harder than men, then innately we want fair and equal treatment in relationships as well. So if you are working, providing, and or contributing to your family, by definition, you are an independent woman, whether you want to be or not. You may still want to be a wife and mother. However, very few women have the option or desire to be full-time stay-at-home mothers in their marriages. Even if you want to, the economic pressures it puts on a family are astronomical. We now live in a society that is dependent on both men and women in the workplace because it has become increasingly difficult to have a fulfilling lifestyle on one income. Roles have changed out of necessity. Women can't do it all anymore, and neither can men. We both need each other. It is very challenging for a woman to work a career and maintain the household and children by herself. The average man can't be the sole breadwinner and make all the leadership decisions in a household without his wife's help. So, this brings in, I put a stat in here, and I'm trying to find it really quickly. Because in here I give a number for, it's like 74% of women work outside of the home, something like that. I can't find my exact stat in the book, girls. But by definition, we are all pretty independent women because you're having to take care of yourself. You're having to provide. If you're a single mom, you have the majority of the responsibility for the children, right? And one of the things that makes it difficult in balancing all of this out is that we've been programmed with traditional gender roles as women that say, well, you know, he's supposed to be the provider and the protector. I'm supposed to be the nurturer and the caterer and taking care of the children. But all of that shift, just throw all that out the window, because at the end of the day, some of that has to be flexible, okay? Some of it has to be flexible because some of you may be making more money than your future husband. Real talk, right? Some of you enjoy your career and don't want to just stay home, you know, or you wouldn't even want to be a full-time mom, right? Some of you might want to, but even the ones that want to aren't always in a position to be able to do that. So by definition, 74% of women work outside of the house, even when they're married. Okay, so the topic of independent women, this is one of the things I want to tackle tonight, is that you can be independent and have a successful relationship. However, what you're going to have to do when it comes to men, because although all these rules are kind of just getting thrown out the window, right? At the end of the day, the nature of a man hasn't really changed that much. We've changed as women, our roles have changed, but the needs that men have in a relationship really haven't changed that much. And even as a woman, I don't care how much money you make, what kind of degrees you have, climbing up the ladder, the professional ladder, I don't care what you've got going on, you still have an innate desire, it's innate, it's intuitive, that you desire to have a man that you can depend on. Who wants to raise their hand and say, yes, ma'am? I don't care how independent I am and how much I'm doing so well holding all this down. I still want a man that I can depend on, that I can lean on, that I can be the softer side of me, that I can lay my head on his chest and I can cry when I need to cry, and I know he's got me and he can hold me and hug me and make me feel secure. That no matter what I accomplish, no matter the titles, no matter anything else that you have going on and how strong and successful and fierce, right? And how boss chick you are, you have an innate desire to have the love of a man, the comfort and security of knowing this man has got you, right? He loves you. He's got your back. He supports you. He's home, right? Coming home to someone that you know, even after being out fighting the world and fighting the corporate ladder and, you know, just fighting the fight to win out here. You want to come home and be able to be with someone who loves you for who you are, flaws and all, and supports you. And that you know, oh my God, there was a bug on my thing. Oh my God, there's a bug in here. Oh, girls, pray for me. I see it over there. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to focus. Zen. That bug better not come back over here. Oh my God, I'm sorry, girls. I lost all my concentration. Okay. Girls, if that bug had landed on me, you would have seen a side of me that you have never seen a day in your life, okay? Oh my God. Ooh, that made me start sweating. Okay, what was I saying? I know, I really, if that bug comes anywhere over here, y'all gonna hear me scream for Mr. Pope. I am so serious, y'all. That bug better stay right over there on that side of the room. Okay, so no matter how independent we are, see, look, I'm a powerful, independent, strong woman, but in the blink of an eye, a bug come in this room. Carrie! I'm calling Mr. Pope, the bug killer, right? Now, did I have that option when I was single? No, girls, I had a great point. This leads me to my first point. When you are in a relationship, you're going to have to compartmentalize. Now, when you're single and you don't have anybody, you don't have any choice. You don't have any choice. You got to handle everything yourself. No choice. But when you get married or when you're in a relationship, girls, listen, you're going to have to compartmentalize. As an independent woman, if you want to get what you need from a man, for him to literally be there, for him to step up, for him to be the provider, protector, for him to really be what you're wanting him to be as a man, you're going to have to compartmentalize. I don't care how independent you are. You see, I came up here closer to the screen. I'm talking to you. I don't care how independent you are, honey. You're going to have to learn to be codependent, to be interdependent. That's the word I'm looking for. Interdependent with your man. You're going to have to lean on him. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I had to learn this for myself. I know I'm watching that bug, Nika. Okay, I'm telling you, if that bug moves, I'm calling Mr. Pope. So compartmentalizing is so necessary. What does compartmentalizing look like? Compartmentalizing means that when you're around that man and in your life and in your relationship with this man, you're still going to have to depend upon him as if you need him. I don't care how much money you're making. Hear me. He needs to be responsible financially. I don't care if you're making 4 times as much as he is. He needs to pay the mortgage or have the part of these bills that are on him. A lot of the time it's best if he's just paying the mortgage, even if you're taking care of everything else, but he's taking care of the mortgage. Whatever it is, he's got to be responsible for taking care of you. I don't care. I don't care if you're making $300,000 and he's making $100,000. He needs to be responsible for taking care of you and the kids. And I hope this is reaching who it needs to reach tonight. Because what's happening in modern times, ladies, is we're taking on a lot of masculine energy. And that masculine energy comes in like, I got this, I'm good, I got it, I'm good, I got it, I'm good, I got it. And what happens when you keep acting like you got it, like you've always got it covered, like you don't need no help, you don't need nobody. What happens is everyone around you says, she got it. She got it. She good. She got it. She good. You convince everyone around you while you're running around with your superwoman cape on. You've convinced everyone that you're superwoman, including your kids and your man, your mama, your kids. Everybody's depending on you because you've allowed them to think that you can handle everything on your own. And then in your relationship with a man, you're not getting what you want and what you need because you don't even act like you need it. But you're to be the first one to be talking about, a real man would just step up. A real man would just pay these bills. A real man will work 3 jobs if he needs to. But why would he feel like he needs to do that if all the money's in the bank and if you are out here killing it and all the bills are always paid because you're making sure of it, if the trash gets taken out when he doesn't touch it, if the tubs get cleaned because you get sick and tired of waiting around on him to do it, so if you don't hold him accountable to do his part to meet the standards that you need in a relationship to feel loved and feel protected and feel provided for, he's going to sit over there, kind of part B, part 2 of the message this morning. He's going to sit over there and feel like she's cool, we good. Things, and he's going to be in this beautiful house and whipping those cars. I've been there. I'm speaking from experience. Big old house, fancy brand new cars on the golf course. And my husband wasn't even working. My mom was sick, parents living with me, and I got 3 sons. I'm the only one in the house working. Carrie! Carrie! There's a bug! I'm sorry, girls. Give me 2 seconds. It started flying. I had a bug land in my hair the other night, a couple weeks ago. I wanted to die. I wanted to die. Bug, baby, please. It keeps flying around. Serious? And it was about to come back over here. Thank you. Yes, I'm live. I'm sorry, baby. It was on here first, and I flicked it away, and it flew over there, and I... Thank you, baby.
Ladies.
Thank you.
Get a man who's just not attractive or nice so he can kill bugs.
Kill bugs. The bug killers. Divine Dream. This is Gigi's.
Oh. Gigi.
Golly girls. Right? Thank you. So, right, my hero. Okay, perfect example. Perfect example. Could I have gotten up and killed that bug? Did I have to kill bugs when I was single? Do I have to kill bugs when I'm married? Not my job description anymore. That is not my job description. When you get in a relationship, there's certain job titles that you're going to have to drop up off of you. Thank you, God. You're going to have to lay down all these hats that you've been wearing and carrying and all these burdens that you've been carrying for all these years, where you've allowed all these people to just burden you, pushing things on you. Right? You gotta lay the bathroom cleaner hat to the side. You gotta take the bug killer hat. Take off the pay all the bills hat. Take off the get the car maintenance hat. There's just certain things I don't do because I had certain standards and expectations in the relationship before we ever came into it. And we had a conversation, we were dating, like, look, I don't like toilets. I don't like bathrooms. I don't touch trash. Y'all would think I've never touched trash before. Did I have to touch it when I was single? Of course. But as soon as I have a man in my life, it's like I revert to being helpless in certain areas of my life. Why? Because first of all, I didn't get married to stay single. I didn't get married to be carrying the burden of all the work in the house and the cleaning. And I didn't get married to not have help. I got married. The Bible says 2 is better than 1. I didn't get married to stay underneath all of the burdens of work and responsibilities that I had when I was single. So when you get married or when you get in a relationship, you're going to have to learn how to take that independence hat and just sit it to the side. Right? Carlita says, I have my sons do it. I used to have my sons do it too. But if they weren't around, we had to do it. We had to do it. I didn't get married. That's right, Latasha. I didn't get married to carry all this stuff. But here's what a lot of women do. They get married and they're so used to being so strong and they're so used to taking care of everything that then they begin to train this husband, train this man to not be strong, to not be able to lead. And you got to let a man be a man. Have the expectation of him handling things. And I have not always gotten this right. I'll be the first one to admit it. I have not always gotten this right, girls. I haven't. My previous marriage, I got this all wrong. And I left him. I divorced him. The advice I'm giving you guys, and I talk about being too nice and not holding your husband accountable, all this stuff I'm talking about from experience. My ex-husband wasn't horrible. He wasn't a bad guy. I was just too easygoing and too strong. So there's this battle on the inside between the independent woman that our mamas raised us to be and that education and work has groomed us to be, this go-getter, independent, go hard that has a lot of masculine energy. And then there's the other side of us that's very passive aggressive because we've been taught not to nag a man, not to be too hard on a man. We've been taught to just pray and give it to God. We've been taught to fall back, just fast, just pray. We've been taught to not speak our mind, not make demands, that God's going to fix it and Jesus is going to do it. But that's not how it works. Now it was different before when we didn't have jobs and we didn't have money and we didn't have all this success. We had to depend on them for financial security. We had to depend on our fathers and our husbands to take care of us and these kids. And that's why there was a certain amount of submissiveness that was required because that was the way the whole system worked. Because as a woman, you didn't have a lot of options. He's the one paying for everything. Let me honor him as a provider and a protector. Honor him as the leader of this house. Respect him for such. But think about how much things have changed right now. You work just as hard as him. A lot of the time, you're making more money than men. That changes the whole dynamic. Which means now as modern women, we're confronting issues that our mothers never had to deal with. But we're trying to act like our mothers in modern marriages. Nika says, my ex told me I shouldn't expect much from him. Needless to say, we're not together. That's right. Carlita says, as a married woman, I didn't take out the garbage, kill bugs, or cut the grass. Right? But see, here's the problem. And this is what you'll encounter in your relationships now. There will come situations in your marriage where you're going to need to hold him accountable to be your provider and protector. Because you still, no matter how much the roles have changed, you still innately need that from a man. And a man still innately needs to be that for you to feel like a man. So now what happens is you've got to now be in a position to still depend on him as if you really need him the way our mothers needed our fathers or the way our grandmothers needed our fathers. Some of our mothers didn't really have that either. But the way our grandmothers depended on their husbands, right? You're now going to have to compartmentalize and say, wait a minute. No, this is not okay. I'm going to need you to do your part. Or Lisa says, my mom was cut from a different cloth. She didn't tell me those things. She wasn't having it. And I think a lot of the time, if we're honest with Lisa, I don't think my mom told me these things. She modeled these things. My mother was an example of being passive aggressive, not holding my dad accountable, not setting strong boundaries, standards, and requirements, not giving him a swift kick in the butt when he needed it. She was always falling back, trying to get, praying for him to change, wanting more from him, but not getting it. but then not really knowing how to get that from him because it was so ingrained for her to just be a good woman, a good wife. So most of us, when we get married, will find ourselves now with a conflict. Because see, our grandmothers weren't making all this money. Our grandmothers didn't have these titles and degrees and power, and our grandmothers didn't have all that. And they are the ones who taught our mothers. So now there's a conflict. So you're going to have to, as an independent woman, be able to understand if you really want to get what you need from a man, you're going to have to compartmentalize. So for all the women who are saying right now, but Rebecca, do I really have to go through all this? Do I really have to I got to dumb myself down to be in a relationship? I've got to change, well, unless you're trying to wear the pants in a relationship and you think you got bigger balls than a man, then yes. That's what I'm telling you. You're going to have to change. You can't be this fierce, bossy, demanding, independent woman with a man. Any man that's putting up with that from you, you're not going to respect. You're not going to respect. And you're not even going to be getting what you want. Because to be honest, don't we often just throw these guys away because we say he's not man enough, he's not this enough, he's not strong enough, he ain't making enough money, he doesn't step up enough. You'll go through men because you're so independent, but you don't realize all you need to do is take off that hat when you're with him. Because truth be told, you're saying, Rebecca, I gotta fake it. No, you don't have to fake it. The truth is you're not 100% all the time boss chick. There is a feminine, soft side of you, the woman, the girl that desires and needs protection, that needs to be able to let your guard down and just cry sometimes. The side of you that needs support and love and comfort. You're not 100% strong, fierce all the time. There's a side of you that is soft and you need the support and love of a man. So I'm not asking you to be fake. I'm really asking you to be authentic. I'm asking you to be vulnerable. I'm asking you to put some skin in the game and get really, really transparent and real when it comes to men and be the softer, feminine side of yourself that then is able to require that. It actually pulls it out of men. When you're the softer, sweeter, kinder, needier, you don't like that word, when you need him, there's something in a man that responds to this. He responds. They want to be your hero. They want to be the knight in shining armor. They have their own little fairy tales too, girls. They want to come in and be able to rescue you. They want to be the guy that you depend on and that supports you. Right? They want that. They really do. I will never forget when I went through one of the worst times in my life, girls, when I really I lost my company that was doing 7 figures, collapses on me. My mother had died. I'm losing my house. I mean, it was one of the worst times in my life. And if anybody else would ever talk to me about during a time like this, I tell them not to date. But dating for me was fun and one of those outlets for me that I was able to still be able to have a social life and at least meet people and take my mind off of all my problems. And so I kept dating even though things were just falling, things were a wreck, right? And as I came out of that and things were rebuilding, I literally began to realize, I'm kind of getting back on my feet a little bit, and there's another, when I was building my company and I wasn't making my money yet, I left corporate America and I wasn't doing as well, right? I'll never forget that when I was meeting men, I was really honest about where I was at, girls. And whereas before I'd always been this boss, go-getter chick who always had it together, I was in a place where I was much more vulnerable and much more not having it together. And when I would meet men, I was honest about that. I mean, I'm a pretty straightforward person. So wherever I'm at in life, you're going to know it. And the men I would meet, I'm up here like, yeah, you know, I'm really recovering, I'm rebuilding, and this is what I'm working on. And these men would just fall over themselves to do for me. And it was the first time in my life that I got that personal experience, gals, to actually be like, wait a minute. Men respond a lot to being needy, being needed, period. I got treated so well when I wasn't having it all together. And this kind of flies against the psychology that most women have, right? Of feeling like they need to have it all together to be worthy of love or to get the man you want. I mean, honestly, they're so much more simple than us. Like, at the end of the day, it's like if they think you're pretty and they're attracted to you and you have it together decently, like not gold digger, using, you know, tripping, you know, they literally will be like, I can work with that. But if they like you, if they're attracted to you, because I couldn't believe it. It was a whole paradigm shift in my understanding of men that really had me like, wow, Rebecca, you don't have to be rolling in the dough. You don't have to be boss chick, fierce, having it all together for a man to really come in and want to be your everything. And it got reinforced later on when I became a matchmaker, because the men, I mean, men with a lot of money and a lot of success and everything, they didn't care. Like, they were like, these men would date anything and everything, as long as they really liked her, as long as she wasn't a stripper, right, or a gold digger. They're like, hey, I'm serious. A lot of the time as women, we've taken on such masculine energy to feel good about ourselves by our accomplishments. That's how men think. Men stick out their chest by how much money they make and their degrees and accomplishments and success. That's not what they're looking for in a woman at all. That stuff is just icing on the cake if he's really, really into you and crazy about you, wonderful, is proud of you that you wrote a book, proud of you that you make this money, proud of you that you've reached these levels in your life. But to be honest, they don't need all of that. That's right, Carlia. That's what they're drawn to, the vulnerable feminine woman. There it is. I get it. The devil's in the details. My mom needed a jar opened. I automatically picked it up to open it. She told me to put it down and yelled her hub's name the way you just called Mr. Pope. Yep. Let me see. He came downstairs, opened the jar, and walked away with his chest puffed out. Exactly, Melinda. Exactly. Tashura says, I have never met men like that. Tashura, let me tell you something, honey. I almost guarantee you, Tashura, by just me meeting you a couple times, honey, I almost guarantee you that you lead with your strength with men. That you're not even coming off like you need anything. So you are never, ever drawing that out of a man. You're not ever being vulnerable, needing a whole lot of anything. Even if you really do, I doubt very likely that you've been showing that to men. And that's why you haven't had any men you haven't gotten that response from any men. Because you're not leading with it. You're not showing it. Men have to feel wanted and needed. Agree, Latasha. Angela says, that explains so many things, in that I have a girlfriend whose life is not lined up. Her health is not that great. Her money is jacked up. And she never has a problem getting a man. Every group I'm in tells me all my ducks need to be lined up to be ready for a man. My guy said he doesn't care how much you make. Treat him good. Boom. Boom. Girls, that's the truth. That's the truth. When it comes to a man, don't take what I'm about to say out of context, but when it comes to a man, being single and wanting to date and wanting to attract some great guys, you would be better off making sure you keep up your appearance, right? Being very sexy and attractive, pretty, and just talking about what you're interested in, but not leading with money, degrees, and all that stuff. Because he's interested in you for you. You could literally act like you hardly have anything, and you would really see the men who are really interested in you for you. Because they don't care. The guys who are really going to be into you do not care. As long, what the men have told me over the years is, as long as she's just keeping up her own life, that they're not having to come in and rescue her from everything. And some men like to do that. But the majority of men are saying, look, as long as she's just able to take care of herself, when I meet her, that's all I need her to do. I'm not looking. And then the more we go more towards the independent side, your real traditional men, your men who want to be your knight in shining armor, your men who want to come in and take care of you and do for you. I had one client tell me that he used to feel like he had to fight over paying for dinner, that the receipt would come for dinner and they're sitting there tugging like, who's going to pay for dinner? He's like, I'm tired of fighting with women, all these independent women, to be able to even treat her like a lady. Let me be the man. I shouldn't have to fight you to open up doors. I shouldn't have to fight you to treat you and pay for things. Nika says that we are really not doing it for the men. It's more of being in competition with the next woman, however, missing the main point of femininity. Exactly, Nika. Very great point, Nika. Jean says, how do you show that? Ask them for the things that you know you can do yourself. Very good answer, Carlita. Exactly. When it comes to a partnership, you're going to have to learn that now you're going to have to compartmentalize. That's the main point I want you to get tonight. You're going to have to compartmentalize. Stop trying to be so independent that you don't know how to let a man take care of you. If you really want to get what you need from a man, sit back and act like he's got to do it or else it's not getting done. Shernay says, he wouldn't have to fight me, but some men have told me that I'm too high maintenance for expecting them to open doors and such. No, you're not. They're just not the right ones for you. Carlita, hell to the no. Sorry, I'm not fighting a man to take care of me. Exactly. Exactly. Now, before I go, I want to talk about the really, really, really strong independent women. Okay? Really strong and independent. Women like me. Really strong, really independent. Here's where I've gotten myself in trouble. I can be so independent and so strong that what we will do is we will actually counteract the natural order of things. You can be with a good man, but we are so independent and so strong that even without realizing it, we're always overstepping our bounds. We're overstepping all the time. So now we're always doing a little too much. And I don't care what man you get with, you can actually be training him to not take care of you. That's what you don't want to be doing. I've done that before. Because if you are so strong and you so have it together, right? And here's the other part. You're so strong and so independent, nobody's good enough. I go into the stats in the book. Ladies, if you're making really good money and you're really, really pretty and you start setting these standards higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, you start talking about such a small percentage of men that by the time that man is meeting all those requirements, you've gotten to a few select men who don't want you. They can have whoever they want. And you'll be backing yourself into a very lonely corner as time goes on and you keep increasing all these requirements you got because you so boss and you so this and you so got it together and you got all these degrees and you're making all this money and you're... Women will say on some of my videos on YouTube, Rebecca, you're trying to get women to settle. No, I'm not trying to get you to settle. I'm trying to get you to understand that you've taken on a lot of masculine energy. That's how men judge themselves. They take pride in their accomplishments and in their success. But you're leading with that and thinking a man is supposed to be impressed because you make 7 figures or 6 figures or all these degrees and the titles you've got. And a man's looking at you and he could care less. He's looking at your legs or looking at your butt or looking at your boobs. He's on a date with you. And you're over here talking about your latest accomplishments, and it's going in one ear and out the other, and he's looking at your boobs. Real talk. You don't care about all that. Men care about how you make them feel, because their mind is out here on being a provider, protector, working hard, conquering the world, doing all this, just like we've become. That's how a man is, and he's over here like, you know, in his time with you, he's looking to have fun. He's looking for peace. He's looking for, you know, to be respected. He's looking for companionship. But he's not really looking at you like you're supposed to be paying all the bills and taking care of everything. Okay. I gotta go, girls. We're having our movie date night. We're going to see Venom. So I've got to go. But listen. Read chapter 5 for next week. Make sure you answer the questions at the end of each chapter. Do your homework. That was chapter 4, Independent Woman. Next week, chapter 5 is the situationship syndrome. The situationship syndrome is really interesting because it's what's really going on out here today that a lot of women find themselves in. So we want to talk about situationships, and it's going to be a really, really great conversation. I've got a lot to share next week about situationships, but get the book. Make sure you do your homework at the end of each chapter. So you're asking yourself some hard questions about your mindset and your core beliefs around men and dating. All right. All right. I love you. Gotta go. Blessings in abundance. See you next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. Love you, love you, love you. And book a consultation up above. Join Divine Dreamers. Love you. Talk to you soon.